welcome to Around the Block, the supporters podcast of the Western Sydney Wanderers. My name is Nick. I'm your host for the show. And then we also have Stephen joining us. It's just us two, Steve, dynamic duo. How are you this evening?
Good, Nick. How you going? First podcast of the year.
It is actually. Yeah.
Calendar year. We'll do calendar year stats today.
Calendar year, okay, fine. Calendar year, first pod of the calendar year, fine. Okay, let's stick with that there. But we are live. We are also discussing the 3-3 draw against Melbourne City, the defending champs, of course, as we played just the other day. Some would say controversial circumstances. Some would say chaotic. Some would say exciting. But if there's one thing that's guaranteed, Western Sydney Wanderers never fail to deliver, depending on whether it's good or bad. If you're expecting bad, they deliver bad. If it's good, chances are you're not going to get it, but there was good in this one, in this game. So we'll talk about some of that sort of stuff throughout the show. But for the most part, how are you feeling at the moment? Because a few of our members are ill. We know Turner's doing his side hustle, whatever he's doing at the moment. Joushi's out at the moment with the Rona, so hope he gets well. Seems to be doing okay. We're in contact with him throughout the day and last couple of days, but still not 100%. To be with us, but Tatsi's overseas, so it's just us two. We are still undefeated as far as I know.
Well, I mean, yeah, touch wood, man. It's like it's crazy. Known so many people get this wave now. Like, there's a bunch of people that got it at the Gosford game, man. I don't know if you know about that. A bunch of the B55 guys that I hang out with, they got it there or got it a week later or something. So, and they think they got it at the stadium in Gosford, which is scary because it was 38-degree heat in the sun in a bay. That's where Turner reckons he got it. So, it's crazy. So, yeah, I was debating whether going to the game this weekend, but they postponed it. So there goes that decision. I don't have to make it now. But I'm surviving so far. I've been in perpetual lockdown since June anyway. Since I've got a 2-year-old, I'm not taking any risk at the moment. So, I can't take that risk. I think other families will, everyone takes do their own risk assessment for this sort of stuff. I'm not going to preach because everyone's got their own little thing. And I know you're out and about, so everyone's got to be careful in their own way.
Mate, you know what? I was just thinking that I get tested at work every 3 or 4 days with rat tests and whatever. Plus, I've also had a couple of drive-through tests over the last couple of weeks. And even though I've been mixing it up with various people in various venues, I've still come up negative every single time. So, I don't know, maybe that's just my natural immunity. Maybe I've had it already and have no idea about it, and I've just developed a tolerance. I've got no idea. But like I said, touch wood, everything is good so far. But what isn't very good at the moment is the Western Sydney Wanderers. We had a 3-3 draw against the defending champs, Melbourne City. As I said, some would say exciting, some would say a bit of a shambles. And it's one of those things we've come to expect through being Western Sydney fans. No level of consistency. If there's one thing we're consistent with, it's inconsistency. You've mentioned it plenty of times before. We're looking for equal, like 7 wins, 7 draws, 7 losses, like equality across the board. You know what I mean? We're always that level playing field type of team. But 3-3 draw, even though we went 2-0 up in the first 10 minutes. And like natural Wanderers, we just collapsed, let the team come back into it through our own defensive frailties. Maybe the team wasn't expecting that from Melbourne City, even though they played half their squad through 120 minutes plus penalties in the FFA Cup the other night against Wellington Phoenix. And then Patrick Hisnorbo came out after the game and said, players are coming back from 120 minutes. Some have come back from Rona. Maybe their respiratory systems is not up to it. Maybe their lungs are still getting back into it and things like that.
That's a new excuse, is it? We had a midweek game. Now we got Corona.
Yeah, so whatever. I mean, we were out with players as well. We didn't have that many players, not who I expected in any case in that starting 11. But straight off the bat, exciting for the neutral, but a shambles for a Wanderers fan. What did you make of it after the first 10 minutes when we went 2-0 up?
We were all predicting us to get smashed in this game, right? So most Wanderers fans would have expected a bloodbath. The fact that we were 2-0 up, I was putting a bet on that with my wife that we'll concede by the 8th minute. And we were 2-0 up by the 10th minute. So I have no idea what's going on anymore, man. And it was weird because we were defending for a bit in that first few minutes. And then somehow we had these 2 quick chances and City's defense were all over the shop and weren't anywhere. And Teresi pulls out this ridiculous goal from outside the box. And then Rodwell scores his first goal. Unfortunately, it wasn't at home. It's like, oh, hang on, what's going on here? It's 2-0, and it was kind of against the run of play, both goals. And I was screaming, "Park the bus, park the bus for 80 minutes," because what happened is exactly what we expected to happen. I didn't have confidence that we'll close the game out just because we had those two, good chances in 5 minutes of play, and then we scored 2 goals. Yeah, I was surprised that we were up, but it was always I was joking in one of my group chats at when we scored the first goal, like, oh, it's time for 4-1. And then we scored. Like, okay, we'll 4-2 then. And then they scored. They started scoring. Like, oh, it's on. My 4-2's on. I'm gonna lose. So to sum it up, the TLDR version is I was expecting a bloodbath when we were 2-0 up. Now I'm disappointed that we drew.
Well, yeah, well, even West Sydney Football says in the comments, when you expect a 5-0 loss, instead go ahead 2-0 and draw 3-3. Get robbed of a last-minute penalty winner, which we will talk about later on. Insert Larry David, I don't know, meme gif with playing in the background. Look, at 2-0 up, I'll be honest with you, I was a bit shocked myself. I just went, okay, Tracy scored himself a nice goal, and then Rodwell scores a nice goal as well. Arguably against the run of play, as you said, a bit of a not a smash and grab, but it did play like a smash and grab because City were on the attack, and then we just happened to hit a counter attack. A couple of fortunate touches and breaks went our way. The first one with Bacchus to I forget who was up front, Agawa, and then Agawa passes it to Troisi, I think, or something to that effect, maybe Bacchus, whatever.
I would hit the crossbar too. He's like almost chipped
Yeah,
the keeper. That was
it was very Duke-like. It was very Duke-like last season. You touch off the chest and smack, and unfortunately hit that would have been a goal of the season contender for sure. And thankfully he did get himself his goal in the second half, and could have had a couple more. Could have had a hat trick really, if you think about it. And then, as I said, the assist from Petrados to Rodwell, who got himself his goal inside post, 2-0 up, 10 minutes, and you're thinking, okay, what planet, what reality are we living in at the moment? Because I did not expect that, especially with the starting 11 that we had as well, which I'm just going to bring up on stream now. As you can see there, we started with Mejias in goal as we expected, Adama Traore, Reece Williams, which we'll talk about as well, Katrumbas and Aquilina, which seems to be the settled back four, you would probably say.
Well, it's pretty much been that back four all season, right? Compared to last year when we had 1,000 different combinations of centre backs, this has been the stock back four, which will change now next game, whenever that is, because of Williams' status, which we don't know about yet. But yeah, that's a settled back four, and the main inclusion here is Bacchus. Comebacks from injury and straight into the starting lineup, which is interesting. We've been talking about him the last few weeks, whether he was going to come straight back in or not. But Antonis hasn't done himself any favors with some of his performances, so Bacchus forced his way in, which is good because he's a bit of a different player. He's more of a box to box. He's not afraid to put a challenge in, and he's good with his feet too. When he's on, he's a good player.
Yeah.
Hemed doesn't. I'm surprised Hemed was actually in the squad because he had COVID last week. I didn't realize he was on the bench until he came on. And then it was a weird formation. I don't know what formation. Like, that graphic shows what it shows, like a 4-2-3-1. But was it that? It was a 4-4-2 with Agawa and Petrados up front, I think, and Troisi was behind him. Like, I think that's graphic completely wrong, to be honest. I don't know what the formation was. It almost seemed like I had a 4-4-2, but with no striker. It was weird.
It was weird.
Definitely more central.
Yeah, that midfield though, the midfield was not what we expected, but Bacchus coming in for Antonis definitely was a big help. But we've said it as well. Like, Antonis looked a little bit sluggish, maybe not up to it. Even then, Petrados was dropped for a game or two, and then he's been brought back into the squad. Rodwell coming in to fitness again, that was a big boost for us. I would have liked to have seen him get on the ball a little bit more in the second half, maybe, but it was probably more of a defensive effort as opposed to an attacking one. But Troisi, the man who we've criticized a lot in the past, especially in the last season, he's arguably been our best player in the first 7 or 8 rounds this season thus far, and he got himself a goal. And Agawa got himself a goal as well, thankfully. As I said, he could have had a hat trick himself. But just overall now, in terms of the starting 11, players were missing because we had no Abini, no Nazarene. There was also, who else was missing from this squad? Obviously, Petrados being out there. Not Petrados, sorry, Antonis not in that squad.
Hemming was on the bench as well.
Yeah. So and also, but also, defender, what's his name? Bloody hell, escapes me. Right back. Bloody hell.
Russell wasn't there either.
Thank you. Yes, like Russell, you probably expect him to maybe start in place of Aquilini. It'd be one of those two. So, do you think the players missing made that starting 11 up for Robinson, who wasn't at the game? Apparently, he was also isolating or whatever. So we had Labino Haliti and Gary Van Egmond taken over, at least managing this game. There, do you think the players missing played a part
I
into
think
that
so. I
starting
think
11?
it's happening across the board. There's been so many COVID cases in certain teams. I feel like some of these were tactical, or like we talked about Antonis. I think he just got dropped for Bacchus, but then Hamid's recovering from COVID, so he obviously didn't start. Charisi, you said for the first 8 rounds. I think we've had like 6 games. He's only played 3 of them because remember he didn't play the first
Right.
few games. So
That's right.
now he's got his nano machines and he plays okay. So yeah, it's funny with Charisi. It was very up and down last year, but it's universally like in social media, people are saying he's been one of our better ones the last couple of years. Is he? It's probably because he's playing for a contract or something like always. It's a classic Mike Bridge tactic. Yeah, I think it's a bit of both, Nick. I think some of it's tactical and some of it is just availability as well. The main one's probably Antonis was dropped and Hamed was availability in Nazarene and Abini weren't available. So this is what we end up with, which is still a strong 11 on paper. But the likes of Petrados is a shell of his former self. There's still time for him to get that back, but whether it's a system or how he's playing or do we have a system? That's the question. Robinson tested negative apparently, but they were keeping him in the hotel for just in case, and that became a bit of the conspiracy thing of Gary Van Egmond comes in like a couple of weeks ago, first game back, Robertson is sick, and then Gary Van Egmond is on the bench, and then Haliti's in charge. It's like the perfect storm for see you later, and people making jokes. Maybe the connecting flight to Wales is quicker from Melbourne or something. Stuff like that. Like, is he coming back to Sydney or I don't know. But like he would have put the game plan together, whatever game plan he puts together anyway. And Haliti and Van Egmond would just ran with it, and obviously make changes when required, which you expect the assistants and that to do anyway. Well, proper coach to make changes where it's required during the game. But
with Haliti and Gary Van Egmond being on the sidelines, you say that the game plan was put in. Maybe Robinson did put the game plan in there, but you still have to manage the game while it's being played. It's no good to just say, okay, he's starting 11 and go do whatever. You still need to make changes. So this is where the boys on the sidelines would have been making the decisions. And when you're playing against arguably the strongest striking front third in the league in terms of Naboo, McLaren, Leckie, who I thought was a bit disappointing, but still nonetheless, someone like Matthew Leckie, he's got himself some experience, and a lot of people would criticize him for not performing for the Socceroos, but we can argue that Scott McDonald never really performed for the Socceroos as often as he probably should have, and things like that. That's another debate for another day. But when you got Florent Berenguer, and also players like Tilio who can come off the bench and score a cracking goal, which he ended up doing, and that was only sub that Kisnorbo made for City in that second half. But playing against these sort of players, you still need to manage what's going on there. And Agawa playing that false 9 central player, odd because he's normally a winger, and Petrados is playing right and then left and then switching with Troisi, and then you've got Rodwell sort of like dropping down and back is doing box to box, and Igarkovic sitting back as well. It's almost like we set maybe to play counter-attacking, do you think, with Agawa with his pace down the middle, with Troisi trying to feed balls through to him? Is that a fair case, or am I making something up there?
Yeah, maybe, because you can't play with your back to goal with someone like Agawa, right? Despite the fact we keep trying to cross to him in previous games. And his goal was classic. Yeah, I think Igarkovic put the ball through and caught City sleeping, I think. And Agawa just, it was like an Inzaghi goal. And there was a hint of offside, but based on the crappy angle we got, it was very close, and I'm glad they gave it to him. Yeah, I think you're right. I've been saying all year, are we playing counter-attacking? And then Josh is not really, because we're playing too slow to be counter-attacking. But this game was end-to-end. It was like a basketball match, a little bit from what I saw of it. I watched most of it, but we have a 2-year-old running around. It's be hard to tactically watch a game. But it was end-to-end, and we had the momentum when we were 2-0 up, but then you let a team back in like City, and then the momentum shifted so much in this game. It was crazy. And their third goal, if you want to talk about Tillier's goal, that pissed me off because I'm pretty sure Bacchus was fouled and someone else was fouled as well. There was 2 fouls against us, and then it was play on and they score a goal. It was like, yeah, classic.
Yeah.
And
Alex King was the referee, wasn't he? I'm pretty sure he was.
Yeah.
He still tell me, yeah, maybe,
I
maybe
think
not.
we never do well in this fixture when he's reffing or something like that. So
Yeah,
you see some clear fouls, pushes, and play on. It's like, okay, and then they score from it. It's like you took two of our players got pushed over, mate. And then the penalty, if you want to talk about the penalty now, is just that would have changed the result or changed the game completely. And it's like when Harper is saying that Wanderers should get a penalty, and everyone in the panel is saying it's a clear penalty. It wasn't even a debate. It wasn't, oh, maybe I see what the ref was doing there. It was like 100% everyone saying that's a pen. Like, why are they not even looking at that? And when you hear Chris Griffiths-Jones do VAR, and when they do, and yeah, like WSF is saying, they rob us always, like for VAR decisions. And Chris Griffiths-Jones looks at it 1 second. No, that's not a pen. If that was the other way around, he would have looked like Blade Runner angles going around shit, trying to find a reason for it to be a pen.
They would have done a thesis on it, dude.
Yeah, it would have been Blade Runner, Minority Report, everything, to work out a reason for it to give a pen. But for us, no pen. The guy, his arm was close to his body. Mate, he leaned towards it. It was like Kuhl-esque or worse than what Kuhl did in 2010. And you got to look at it. It's crazy how that wasn't given, or even didn't even talk about it. Like the ref just like, not play on. And then Chris Griffiths-Jones was like, oh, sorry, a toilet break. I'm not watching that one. Like something's going on.
VAR was missing.
Yeah,
VAR wasn't working properly or something to that effect.
The only time we got a pen last year is when Beanie got like roundhouse kicked in the head. And that's the only time we got a pen because he couldn't deny it.
I remember that. Yeah, there was late last season. He jumped for a header. It was a back kick and just clacked in the head. But this is the footage here. If we just have a quick check, so as we're looking at it here,
audio, you can't see it, but
so
it was a shot by Petrardo.
So the freeze frame there is right on. If I can, I can't even zoom in on this, unfortunately. But if I go, so the freeze frame,
84th minute, 3-3, by the way.
Like right, like how do you miss that? Like let's go back again. And
he leans towards it. I know his arm is alongside his body,
but like, come on, man. Like you look at this again. Like, see, it's right off his like bicep elbow. Like it's not even a question of maybe. Like that is legit.
If he's moving away from the ball, but he moved towards the ball. We've had pens, given against us. Worse.
Look at his body position. He's shifting across, and then he's still got his arm out. Like you can see, it's still his arm is not right next to his body. It's not on his side. It's like out a little bit. So
I hate the new handball rule because it's freaking stupid. Natural position, non-natural position. What's a natural position? We've been hit. Remember Schweiger got hit with a pen. He was running, so his arms out in a running motion, and the ball hit him from 1 yard out. Oh, not natural position. That? He's running.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened with Cornthwaite a few years ago. He's running as well. Ball 2 meters away, hits him in the arm. Second yellow, you're sent off. Like
I remember that. Was that against Adelaide?
Yeah, I think it was.
It was. And when he was pissed off, he's walking around and just waved to someone in the stands and he kept on walking. You remember that one?
Western football says it was deliberate. The position is irrelevant. I agree.
Exactly. It's deliberate. It doesn't matter where your arm is.
WSF was saying like old rule, new rule. That's a pen, regardless. But my point is this whole natural position thing is so debatable. They tried to make that so it's less subjective, but it's actually made it more subjective. It should just be handball in the box. Doesn't matter if he's on by accident or the movement. Just make it easy, man. Like it used to be. If it's the hand in the box, it's a pen.
Yeah.
Put your arms behind your back like you're supposed to do as a proper defender. Like
in the stream, but in the stream, like WSF says here, Georgia Yeoman-Dale actually pointed out first time asking why VAR gets rid of the claim in seconds, almost like they aren't even watching it. That's not new. That's been happening to us for way too long. We get a call and it's like they look at it once or twice. It's like, whatever, wave it away. It doesn't exist for us. if you watch the halftime,
Oh,
no, full time, sorry, you watch, he actually says, like, what's the go? And even Andy Harper came back, he's like, it's penalty for me. I like this.
that's like they haven't been corrupted yet.
This comment here from George: more natural positions than a Kama Sutra book. Like, damn, like, I don't know, man. It just wasn't it, man. It wasn't it.
Like I said, we only get pens when it's like roundhouse kick to the head. All these, man, we've seen it in multiple years. Like I'll talk about the Schwegler one and things like that, right? To Jesse Penn will be the best. But like we've seen things like that, like natural position, it hits the back of our arm when we're running is a pen. The same thing happens 2 minutes later with the opposition team where the arm is further out. No pen because natural position, you didn't mean it. It's like what? Like if we did proper analysis, like it would sound like freaking Arsenal TV or something. But like it's just after it happens for like 5-6 years in a row, it's not a conspiracy anymore. It's just fact. It's crazy how the amount of penalties that we do not get because of a technicality that doesn't exist. And yet, if it's the other way around, everyone from the top of the club to us say the same thing. Because we've talked to some of those guys in the club. Like, if that was the other way around, that would have been a pen.
Yep.
Like 100%. That would have been a pen. And then the next 5 minutes, Nick, City are like falling over trying to draw a pen the whole time. So I'm glad that King didn't give it to him.
Mate. Kisnorbo on the sideline. Look at it. Yeah, look at it again. It was the whole Brisha. Look at this.
And then they show the replay. Like, there's nothing to look at.
There's nothing there, bro. There's nothing there at all, brother. Relax.
He didn't say anything because like the guy fell over when it's like they were playing for a pen in the last 5 minutes. It was crazy how they instead of just shooting.
Surprised how they played for the pen. You would have thought they would have scored, but like you said, those last 5 minutes was literally back and forth. They had a couple of chances. We had the better chances. I don't know how Agawa didn't score. That one from Troisi when he's basically one-on-one with Glover, and instead of going near post to finish inside, he's gone for a cutback, and Hamed slips and he just goes back across goal and still manages to go out for a corner somehow. The thought process of some of these players, honestly, like it trips me out sometimes.
Sometimes you just have to be selfish and just go for it and have a hit, right?
Yep.
I know there's if you're too selfish and you stuff up a chance because there's someone in a better position, but you are in a good position. I think Aquilina did it as well. It was this game or same thing. He got into the same position that Teresa did and went for the cross instead of the actual shot. And I get flashbacks of Shannon Cole doing the same thing. It was open goal when he goes for a cross instead of just shooting. Like, just shoot, man. Outside of the boot, inside, just hit it. You might get a deflection. The keeper might like spill it, and then someone taps it in. Like, you just gotta like test the keeper in those positions. And you were screaming on Twitter. I was screaming in real life, and then I'm screaming, "Come on!" And my 2-year-old looks up from his doing, "Come on!" He's just
teach him young.
But
gotta teach him young, man.
He didn't repeat any of my swear words, so it's pretty good. But it's one of those games where we expected to get smashed, and then in the game we're all pumped. We're screaming at the TV because we want to get that result because the season starts here and all that sort of rubbish. But
I mean, just looking at on Twitter as well, a lot of people when that whole thing happened as well, just reading all the comments like that's a clear pen. How has VAR knocked it away? How haven't they even said to the referee, "Hey man, just suss it out for yourself. Look at it again." In real time and in slow motion, check the movement of the arm. Just that's all we ask for. If VAR referees don't say yes, it's a penalty, given like clearly, it should always go to the referee to make the final decision. That's how I see it. I'm sick to effing death of referees saying, "No, I'm not going to look at it." Like, are referees not allowed to request to look at video footage unless the VAR advises them to? Is that a rule?
Yeah, I don't know. I think so. But he was looking directly at it anyway, and he said no pen. So VAR should have actually overruled it and said maybe you should have a look at this because you might have missed it. So
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It should, something like that should always go to the referee. Say, check it out for yourself. Have a look. I remember there was an instance with Liverpool and Spurs where Spurs Harry Kane, I think, went in on a high tackle on Robertson and clipped him completely, and he got a yellow card when he got nothing of the ball. That arguably could have been a red. No VAR check or anything. But then when Robinson had a swipe at another Spurs player late in that game, it was a yellow card. Then they said, no, check it out on VAR. So it's like they're making up for their mistakes in a way. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't come to that. Just hey man, something's gone on. I think you need to have a look on the video on the screen and suss it out for yourself. That's all he had to do. And if he
Well,
says no, then we can still chastise the referee.
it's almost like he knows he looked at it. It doesn't want to overrule it. I don't want to make you look like you're a shit referee, so I better not say anything. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. You don't have to look at that one. You know what I mean? Like, it's like there might be some of that happening. Like, none of the officials in the major country do it that way. Yeah, so no one knows.
So like the referee can stop play from WSF, and I trust because he's probably got the FIFA handbook in front of him. He says referees can stop play if they feel there is something that can be reviewed. But what do they do then? Do they stop playing in the earpiece to say, "Hey, suss this out for me"? I always thought they had
in the
to wait.
UK game. I saw it. The ball was still in play. 20 seconds after a penalty, and he stopped play. He said, "I have to look at the VAR," and they gave a pen. And then he missed, and the UV won. But
that's right.
So, that was on Monday morning. So
yeah,
it can happen, but that's the VAR is supposed to be objective and none of this biased crap. And if they see a mistake, like you said, Nick, and just because the ref is looking at it, they need to again, arm to ball, it's a pen. Yeah, everyone's saying it's a pen.
Yep.
It's clearly a pen. No one has said it's not a pen. Yeah.
There you go.
Get the app.
There you go. Get the IFAB law on the game. Shout out to Byron. iOS and Android. Get it. You'll never miss a moment without it. But look, Steve, we can talk about this nonstop. But it's I think we're just sick to death of it because it happens to us way too often where we've got a legitimate case and VAR just completely does not want a bar of it when it comes to us for some reason. I mean, we can all go back to the moment which I recorded us at the Wellington game last season when Hamed thought he scored an equalizer to make it was it 4-4 or something, and it was ruled offside, and I just went, wow, like that's like VAR giving us one back. But you know, VAR giveth and VAR taketh away for us. It's like one step forward, two steps back with VAR for us.
They taketh a lot more than they giveth, that's for sure.
Oh, mate, 100%. VAR doesn't make new decisions. He tells the ref, "Hey, you might have missed it," so the ref can decide for himself if they might have missed it and start a review himself. Well, that's what they should do. The VAR should say, "Hey, man, check this out." It's not like, I don't think it's a pen, so don't look at it. It's not up to the VAR referee to make that final decision.
The only thing the VAR makes a decision on is the offside one because that's just black and white.
Yeah, it's like the lines. That's it.
Yeah, that's what the Ogawa goal as well. So,
in saying that, the Ogawa game, the Ogawa goal, rather, if we move on to that now, I mean, there was a late onslaught, but no winner for either team. There could have been a winner for us. Ogawa had a couple of chances, as we said. First half, that volley over the top off the post. Second half, finally got himself a goal. He had a couple of chances before that as well. But even that offside call, I thought, hang on a second, they're not showing us any slow motion replay. There are no lines, anything like that. And then it was like 5 minutes after the goal was given that they finally said, okay, this is the lines. And you saw how tight it was. Like,
was it very, very tight. I think I missed that screen grab. Was it the same angle that we showed? Was there a different
angle? Same angle from TV.
I mean, surely VAR's got a better angle than that. I think they're just not showing us because that angle was pretty bad. I thought it was on, but it was close. Yeah, I could, and I'm glad it went our way. So obviously it wasn't. Obviously it was clearly on, clearly, but they gave it to us for once, which is good. Two new guys scoring 2 goals. They've deserved it over the last time they've played as well. So hopefully it's onwards and upwards for those guys. But the couple of downers of this game, Nick, is again we considered from a set piece. Again, we've had 30 weeks now of games under Robertson, and we still don't know how to defend. It's getting really frustrating. All well and good to score 3 goals. If we concede 3 goals, you're not winning anything. And what's the old adage again that we keep talking about? Like, so I'm not going to repeat it because everyone knows it.
but something about defense winning your championships.
It's like, again, like at the forum, he talked about this game, that game, the other game. Those 3 games where we considered too many goals. That's 9 points that we lost, and that would have made us into the finals. Well, you can look at this one the exact same thing. You're 2-0 up. You considered 3. You had to come back for an equalizer to make it 3-all. That's what happened, right? I can't remember if we scored the equalizer at the end. Anyway, the point is that
we scored the equalizer, but
equalizer, right? So again, you're conceding soft goals. You're conceding, that I think it was an own goal. Was it an own goal? But
first one was an own goal. off
Yeah, and
Petrados.
then the corner as well. Like, you see the corners again.
But that corner one, McLaren, I said this off air before we recorded, not the tallest player in the league, but one of the deadliest. He's proven it time and time again.
Against us,
But he's
especially.
got three players around him, including Reece Williams, and no one makes a jump for it. Even Traore was there. No one made a jump for it. It's a free header for him. Why is he allowed to jump between three of our defenders and get a clear header on goal? Please
Yeah, exactly.
explain.
Yeah.
Please explain. Check this out, though. They ended up scoring 3 goals, right? What can you find out? Find out the flaw in this thing here. Look at the shots and on target for City, please. Tell
Yeah,
me.
well.
Their 3 shots ended up being 3 goals. We had 5. 3 of those were goals. So you can see we're not doing what we need to stop those shots becoming goals from the opposition. It's good and well to be blocking shots. I mean, we've had this discussion before as well. When your goalkeeper has the most saves in the league, that's not necessarily a good thing. It might mean you have a good goalkeeper, but it shows the frailties in your team and your defense that you're letting the opposition have that many cracks at goal that your goalkeeper has to come in and save you. If they're having 3 shots on target and those 3 shots on target are 3 goals and we're having 5 on target and not scoring any goals, either our finishing is poor, their goalkeeper is better, or our goalkeeper and defense are just absolute rubbish. And it seems to be a pattern that I'm seeing way too often. They get one chance and they score a goal every single time.
Yeah. They've had more shots. We had better strike rate, I guess. But yeah, I see what you mean. It's classic 3 shots, 3 goals, right? And we have 5 shots, no goals, and all this sort of stuff. So it's defensive frailties, man. It's been, we used to be prided on a defense. That's how we won a championship, a Champions League, and a Premiership. Our defense, we just grind out a draw. 2-0 up, we kind of should have started parking the bus and just play hardball. We let them back into the game too easily, and then once they scored 1 goal, you knew the floodgates were going to open, and more like it was just one of those games where goals were coming from left, right, and center. Right, 2-0 up, 10 minutes. Yeah, it would be very hard to defend for 80 minutes, but still, you should just tighten it up a little bit and not leave yourself so open.
But against a team like City as well, who are, as I said, one of the most dangerous attacking fronts in the league. As I said, even Naboo actually for me in this game was pretty quiet and didn't do anything apart from the first 10 minutes. I did not feel threatened by Naboo at all in this game. McLaren, every time he got on the ball, there was always something he could have done, but really, Lecky for me for City just didn't really offer much. He had a few sights at goal. He did have that shot that ended up being deflected, a scramble in the box. It went to McLaren and it was cleared off the line by Traore, as Byron says in the comments here for those listening after the audio version. But you also have to take into account before that, McLaren had a clear tap in at the back post at the end of that first half, which could have been 3-2. And in which case he pulled out because his foot would have probably smacked that post. And I don't think he wants to afford an injury, even though he's going to put his team in the lead. So we probably escaped that game if you look at it in hindsight a little bit.
Look, if you're going to ask us a week ago, you're going to take a point in City, we would have taken it. But then it's just when
the way the game's played out, though.
Yeah, you're like, now I'm disappointed that we only got a point. Like it's funny how football works like that, right? So I was expecting to get smashed, and like I said at the top of the show, but now it's like, damn, that's like got away from us a little bit now. And City will they'll be disappointed with the point too, but happy also that they didn't lose it because again they played midweek and all this sort of stuff. They had people out, and it was one of those. It was a good game for the neutral, that's to say, but both teams would have been satisfied with the point, but also disappointed with the point at the same time. I think Troisi said as much as well in the post-match interview. Like, yeah, we created chances. We came back. It was good to get a point of the champions away and all that sort of stuff, but we could have won that game. And from a fan perspective, I think that's where we're coming from as well. Throw out the whole team, Robinson, Halidi, Gary Van Egmond, all that sort of drama that's happening. Like from a football perspective, it's like, man, we could have taken that. We could have won that match. Whether we go up from here, who knows? Because who knows who we're playing next and when that is. Because our game, we hadn't played for like 3 weeks or something, 2.5 weeks. So where that was showing in some guys going down for cramp because Traore went down and then Williams went down before he got injured and had to get subbed off. So there's a bit of cramp happening there, and like maybe fitness because everyone's been off and everyone's been sick and they haven't played for 3 weeks. Whereas City played 3 days ago, so they'd be fatigued a different way and all this sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
we don't know what the latest with Williams is. It's funny how we haven't heard what the outcome is. Normally, if it's an ACL or something, within 24 hours, right? Like they
Yep.
normally do the scan, they tell you straight away. Wanderer is a classic of never telling you anything, and you'll find out. You never find out. They never tell
Mm.
you an injury. They did that article a few years ago of injury updates. This is where everyone's at.
Yeah. Yep.
But with stuff like this, like I'm going back to Italian football here. Chiesa got injured, ankle injury, and then it's a freaking
Yes.
ACL, mate. They pull
ACL
players out
straight
for
away.
like within 24 hours, we know it's an ACL, and now I'm disappointed because Italy's good. I'm failed to qualify for the World Cup now, but straight away for an ACL. Williams, I thought it was hammy. He was holding really high up with his leg, and now
Yep.
I don't know where
I thought
certain
the same thing too, Steve.
publications saying ACL, but like these people are clickbait, so I don't believe anything they say
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean, I thought it was a hammy as well because 5 minutes, 10 minutes before that, he pulled up a little bit as well from a tackle, and he just had to get himself stretched out a little bit, and he did look at the back of his hammy, and the first half as well, Adama Traore with his left groin, I thought that was it, he's done when he got down and he's grabbing and trying to get the muscle going, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, he's Traore out. Like, who's going to step in for Traore now? Like, who's going to play left back, sort of thing? Like, Gordon, is he going to come
I think
in?
we're fine with fullbacks, Nick. Between Wilmering, Tate Russell, Aquilina,
But Gordon
Gordon
can play as well.
can play as a right back as well.
Yeah,
We've got plenty of fullbacks.
yeah, that was my thing. But you see the tree trunks on that bloke. He's almost like Roberto Carlos esque in a way. But yes, he did suffer. Well, ABC are reporting it as a serious hamstring tear.
Reading this, that's just speculation, man. Nothing's been confirmed by the club yet, and when we get confirmation, we'll see. But Reece Williams actually liked a tweet that one of our fans, I think it was Laura, that
It was Laura. Shout out to Laura right here, who
It's
says,
so
"Yeah, while we're talking about defense, are we going to talk about the elephant in the room with Williams' injury and where to from here? We're doing it right now. So
yeah.
where from here, Steve?
Well, Nada came on, and Nada seems to be preferred over Motakudis in the centre back position. So yeah, like WSF says, I think Nada will just come in. But that means you got Nada and Katrumbis as two young guys in your defense. Who's leading that defense then?
Yeah,
You're gonna Aquilina on the right. Is another young kid, and Troyo, and I can't even say his name. Adama on the left, and Mahias at the back. But it's like,
you need an old level head in there, man. Like someone like a Ziggy Gordon to yell
is he a
and
level head?
command.
Is he a level head?
I don't know, but he's the only senior I can think of in that back line. If you look at seniority, who else is there, man? Unless you put Tass in there somehow.
Well, see, Tass is a future captain. He's captain, national sides and things like that. But it seems like Nada has always been preferred for some reason. So I don't know if Gordon works in a back four or centre back. I think he worked in the back three. But as a centre back and a back four, there's been debates online about this. I don't know if he works there, and I think Josh has mentioned it as well. He might be better as a defensive right back, if we need to, and then Aquilina can go to the left, if Adama's out. But I think Nada will just slot straight in, man. For some reason, Tass is not preferred. I don't know why. He can play centre back and DM as well, like Byron's saying. Yeah. Well, Nada played well last year when he came in, so he did a good job. The interesting stat is when Williams was on the pitch, we considered 3 goals. When he was off the pitch, we didn't consider a goal. So take that for what you will.
Grasping at straws, man.
Thanks to Irish
Yeah.
But Nada does a good job, man. All I'm concerned about, Nada and Katrubis will do a good job, is that you just miss that leadership thing.
WSF. Gordon will work as a fullback like the Putso used to.
Yeah, defensive fullback.
And really happening there. But look, a couple of people in the comments have said, who's taking the captain's armband now? William is asking, Laura's asking as well.
Do we have a vice captain?
Who would be captain in this squad, Manny? If we're looking at the squad as a whole, who would literally be the next in line to be captain in this?
It'll be Troisi would get it. If
I would think so. That would be my guess. Troisi or Bacchus maybe.
No, he won't be Bacchus.
Outside shout Bacchus if he plays.
I think who the vice captain is. I've probably mentioned that. I can't remember who it is. It'll probably be Troisi, man.
I
Let's
think
be
so.
honest.
I think it
Um,
would be Troisi. Yeah, I think it would be him if he's going to be playing consistently starting in the 11 because I don't see anyone else in that squad who is a senior, shall we say, or that's been there long enough or played in the league long enough to say, yeah, I'm deserving of a captaincy in this team. Unless they vote on it, if they get together and say, all right, well, Williams is out for however long, we need a new captain. Who do you vote? And they do it like a Survivor style or something, and they
they'll have their leadership group, mate. So
well, that's what I'm thinking.
they'll
That's what
have
I'm
a vice
thinking.
captain. I just can't remember who it was. I can't remember who they. I'm pretty sure they did it. Wonder who's captain.
It's a good point. Yeah, I
Who
didn't.
got the captain? Who got the captainship when he went off?
I don't know. He was actually. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh, who's he going to give it to? But it was going off when he had his hands behind his back. You could still see he had it on his left bicep. So I'm like, okay, who's got captaincy? West Sydney football. Ugarkovic, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. Everyone else is either not 100% first choice or too young. Rodwell, I don't know about Rodwell.
No.
I don't think so. Not for someone like that. If it was, um, maybe someone like a Jordan Much, perhaps, maybe. Obviously, he's gone to MacArthur now, I think, or the Mariners or some obscure team. But yeah, there is no one else that's that senior. Rodwell, I don't think he'd want to take the captaincy in any case. I don't think he.
No.
It's unfair on him as well, just because he's a marquee or whatever. He's just playing, just because he's got that played overseas in the Premier League in England, all that sort of stuff. That means nothing. I don't think that means anything in there.
No, it doesn't.
No, but
Wikipedia doesn't tell us who the vice captain is anymore.
yeah, I don't know. It
Okay.
doesn't say. It
Could
doesn't
be
say
anyone.
anything.
It probably Troyes is the main one. I think it'd be Troyes.
If Fabinho was fit, my money would be on Robbo giving it to him from Laura. You know what? As sad as that is, I could see that damn well happening, and I'm not for it.
Too much pressure for him, mate. The guy will collapse.
I'm not for it at all, man. Not an absolute chance. No way would I want to see that. But it's not beyond the realms of possibility. We all know what this team can dish up for us. But in saying that,
she'll be one of those. I'll tell you now.
probably Tracy. In other news, the victory game postponed, which means it's another one. So we are not playing because of cases within the victory squad. Looks like our players are coming back to full health to some capacity. But it does say here from the Wanderers website, confirmation of a number of positive cases within the Wellington Phoenix men's department last week. Scheduled match to be held on the 15th of January between Perth and Wellington was postponed. So Glory will remain in Western Australia for another week. And then there's also the unavailability of Western United and MacArthur FC. So they had to reschedule and do whatever they needed to do. And then our game has been postponed as well because of cases within the victory camp. Positive cases reported on the 10th and 11th of January following either RAT or PCR testing. So I think it's from what I understand that from my source in the A League in the club, once a certain amount of players reach a COVID case, they have to can it off there.
They can request it. So it's not. I think they can request it if they've got 5 or 6 cases. So I was going to suggest that we play Wellington, but it looks like Wellington's actually got the cases, so we can't do that. They threw this match against City really quickly together. I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, we're playing City this weekend.
It's like, all right, cool. No worries.
So I was hoping we could do that this weekend coming up with some of these teams. But it looks like that can't even happen unless we play MacArthur.
Couldn't we play someone else?
Well, who's available? Wellington, it looks like they got COVID cases based on this article you're showing on the screen. Perth is like in another country. Western United has been COVID hit with the last month, and so MacArthur's probably the only one available. Do we want to play them again?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I really don't know.
It's getting really, this is really disruptive. This is more disruptive than last year, man.
Well,
we can't play behind closed doors or anything. So because the cases are going through the actual teams themselves, it's going to end up at a stage by March, April. We're playing a game every 2 days. Just to catch up.
Well, if we're looking here, the City game that was cancelled, we've played that. Jets game was cancelled. West United game was cancelled, and the Glory game was cancelled. So now Victory game's cancelled. So if everything goes ahead, our next game potentially is against Adelaide United on the 19th of this month.
Okay, so that's only a few days later. That's a midweek game then.
Yeah, but potentially that would be our next game. That'd be our next game. So I don't know if there's any other team that we can play in between that. 5 or 6 is the limit before they can request it. Okay, so if they've got 5 or 6 players out, then they can say, "Hey, we don't have enough players for this match, so we have to can it." So
just do what Set I was doing, mate. They're just not. If you can't travel to the game,
3 points.
It's not 3 points. They start the game and wait 45 minutes, and then they give the forfeit. That's what they article.
Really? So what happens if they come in the 44th minute? It's game on. do they start with a 3-0 head start? It's like or 3 goal mercy.
You're wasting people to get onto the pitch and sit there for 45 minutes. But they're basically saying we're not postponing any more games. It's up if you can't travel because of health authorities saying you can't travel, that's your problem.
Fair enough, man. They've put those protocols in place, I guess. Well, hey, that's the situation. We're not postponing games. We're not making you reschedule games. If you can't play, you can't play, and the team that can play will get the win.
They probably want to avoid what happened with Juve and Napoli earlier this season, where Napoli decided they didn't want to travel because some health authority said they couldn't, whereas the league said they could, and they didn't show up. And they had to go to court almost to see if they wanted to reschedule the game. So they're pretty much putting the rules in now, I think, saying you don't show up, it's your problem, forfeit. Where it'll be far cry. That would never happen here. We'll cut the league down to 22 games, but can they do that? Won't that affect the WSF is saying that we'll cut the league down to 22 games if these postponements keep happening, but that will affect ACL, won't it? I think say so. Games you have to play for Champions League. Not that we have a good coefficient at the moment, anyway. But yeah, it's going to be. They can extend the season. The season does not have to end in May whenever it ends.
It ended in June, didn't it?
Well, last year they had to because of the Fox deal.
Yeah.
So now they can if they need to extend it till June, July, just keep going. It'll just be sharing grounds with NRL. That's any problem. That's an issue that we have. But just extend the season. That's what you're gonna have to do. What do you do if you're gonna keep letting people postpone games because they had a few cases? Well, you kind of created the mess in a little bit, and the state government's having their own rules with travel and isolation, all that sort of stuff doesn't help either. Western Australia is like Perth is never going to get out of there, and they got stuck in hotel quarantine in Brisbane because of all that mess over Christmas and all that, if you remember. So it's just crazy because. We're like a bunch of city states, man. We're not even a nation anymore.
Nah, we've gone back to colonies now.
That's so Byron's saying next home game is not until Mariners in early Feb. Didn't we talk about before this season started that the first 10 games were in New South Wales and
didn't happen?
8 of them were at home or something ridiculous that, and now we're like, we're not playing for like another month.
It did not happen. Didn't happen at all. I mean, Perth doesn't even open up until February 5th. So it's Perth have got this same situation again. I wonder how Daniel Sturridge is feeling right now. I really hope he found his barber to look good for no cameras because they're not doing anything at all over there, Perth. Like, I don't know. I sort of feel sorry for them because obviously they're the furthest team away. Even Wellington are based here within New South Wales in Wollongong. So at least you can go down to Wollongong and play them like we did, some weeks back. But Perth are literally like out in the middle of nowhere. Apparently he's counting his money. That's what he's doing from WSF.
It was based on appearances, not just a lump sum.
Mr. T, the A-League hub is in Townsville, so no one has home ground advantage. Let's go.
Isn't there like cyclones up there at the moment?
I don't know what's happening. But look, we're pushing on the 50-minute mark at the moment. I think we've pretty much discussed what we've had to discuss. Before we sign off, Steve, because apparently there's no game next week, so I don't know if we're gonna have another break. But I'll go back to my first point for the show: exciting or shambles? 3-3 against Melbourne City, Steve.
Exciting for the neutral, frustrating for the Wanderers fan.
It was.
That's my take on it. Hey, Nick, let's talk about something else. We could quickly talk about Gary Van Egmond if you want. Why he brought in. So the official stance is because Kenny Miller left, and we never replaced him. So Gary Van Egmond is filling that void, which makes sense on paper. Whether that's real, well, it is real in a sense, but whether there's other nefarious things happening of Robertson, you don't know what the hell you're doing. We need to bring someone in that kind of does or knows Australian football.
Yes.
So there's a bit of that can be perceived that way. Exciting and then shambles. There you
Yeah.
go. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. I don't know how to take it. It's okay. I think we were missing something when Kenny left because we didn't fill that void, and Labano is not really there yet. In terms of his coaching career, so we needed someone with a bit more experience. And Robertson clearly has no idea about tactics, so maybe if anyone does and can help in that capacity, because you can clearly see when we set up for set pieces and plays and attacking style, we don't know what the hell we're doing. You can tell Robertson, as we talked about in the past, he talks a lot, but he doesn't actually talk tactics. So
yeah, the Josh says glorified motivational speaker.
Exactly, not even glorified. That's all he is.
Oh,
but if you bring someone with some tactical nous into the team, and maybe he can sort that out. So I don't know if we saw enough in this game to say that, but it'll be interesting in the next month or so to see what happens.
WSF's got an interesting comment here.
GVE hasn't been a good manager for 14 years. He's done more work with juniors and youth, so I expect his job is much about the NPL team as it is about the first team. Well, Ian Cook is there. He can help with that and bring those guys in. He knows Australian football, all those cliches. So we'll see. He might not have been a good coach for 14 years, like you say, but maybe some people are better off as a second man, not the front man. So, just do what needs to be done. So
GB is there to bash heads, apparently.
There's one other thing, Nick. We've been talking about it at the beginning of the season and haven't done it because I'm just lazy. The Wanderers' worst 11. So 10 years of the Wanderers' worst 11. I'm going to start it this week. So I'm going to put a call out in social media and on our Discord channel of nominations of the goalkeeper, the worst goalkeeper. Okay. So the criteria is, and we'll do the nominations first and then we'll do a vote. All right. But the criteria is they had to have played minutes. So you can't pick Sully Adore or something from season 1 because he never played. All right. So you got to pick, you got to pick someone that's actually played for us. And if he played 1 minute, that's enough. So Nick Ward can get in there. So not as a goalkeeper, obviously. So
Mabratu comes on and he gets injured straight away.
Forget. And he apparently he didn't because only what's his name? He's the only person that ever came back from an ACL injury.
Straight away, Vedran.
Nizic. Laura's got my vote. Nizic. I reckon Nizic is our worst goalkeeper. That's my take. But let the people put the nominations in. If you can't remember who we had in our team, go to Ultimate A League, and that I'm pretty sure they've got every single player that's played for the team, and you can sort it by position, and you'll be surprised with some of the names that you're like, oh, I forgot about that guy. So you're gonna need. I think goalkeepers is not too hard because there's only a handful of goalkeepers we had. We had Dean Buzanis. I forgot we had him as well.
Yeah.
But when we get to the other positions, especially the midfield, because we've had 5,000 billion midfielders, you're gonna have to probably go to Ultimate A League or something like that and have a look at who we've had in the past, and bring out. I'm not gonna put Nick. I'm not gonna make it too complicated and say we need 5 visas only. If they're all visa players, so be it. But, and I guess maybe depends how we go. We might even have a bench based on shout outs and stuff like that. And people that didn't make the starting 11, but they make the bench of the worst. Vedran is that'd be controversial because he did some good things for us, but I think Nizic for me is a winner. But let's talk about when we get the actual votes in. So we'll do nominations for a week. And then we'll talk about the nominations next week, and then we'll put the poll in, and then we'll talk about the CB. And so that will keep us going for the rest of the season quite easily, I think.
WSF has already got his worst 11. Should we reveal it or leave it off screen?
Let's do it off screen.
Off screen.
I don't want to taint or
Oh man.
Well, not taint, but I don't want to persuade other people. So I haven't thought about my worst 11 yet. I need to go for the Ultimate A League website and actually see these players. It'll be actually pretty hard. Let's do a 4-2-3-1 as well, classic Wanderers. Or if you want to make it a really worst 11, should be a 3-5-2. But
man,
because we can't play
worst formation ever.
Let's we could do that, but that'll be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at all the players we've had. Oh man, holy crap! Just looking through the list here. Wow. Raul Lorente, Kusakami, Obviously we also had
We've had worse with it. Yeah, so
Redmayne,
Redmayne is top.
Risdon,
Yeah,
um
Rhythm is valuable.
Martinez, if you remember Martinez as well.
He was underutilized.
Yeah, Cabs, Lustica. Um,
Nick
well, these
Kalma is
players.
number 10, mate.
Kalmar, that's right. Kalmar's in there as well.
Number
Cejudo. You remember
Oh,
Cejudo?
Cejudo should be up there in my head. For the money we paid, Cejudo, Pio up front with another shit.
Mahazi.
And Mahazi went to the
Mahazi.
K League after us, mate.
Yeah. Bullets up there. Joey Gibbs. Nick Fitzgerald, Maya, Pio, Pepper, Takahagi.
Fitzgerald, did he play for us?
Yeah,
Wow.
played for like one season, played on the right wing. It was number 7, I'm pretty sure.
I remember that.
Kuzmanovsky had like a couple of appearances and then had to retire or something.
Took the money.
Saba, the G Train, Galafuoko. As alumni, Specky used to say Pina Torres, couldn't say Pina Torres. You say Pina Torres.
Oh yeah, so he'd be up
so
there
many players, so many players.
It's gonna be
Tanaka,
actually quite difficult, eh?
Chris Hurd, Tokic, Tyson, Booz. Wow,
He was the next
like
best thing as well, wasn't he? We could make a team of just the next best things.
oh man, that definitely up there, Matt Sim,
Matt Sim as well.
Yeah, he was like I think it was like played for like one season or something in like our 3rd or 4th season.
Oh, wasn't he injury replacement or something?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I think he was. Yeah, Adeleki.
Yeah, so he's good.
I could go on forever, man. I think we need to wrap it up, otherwise we're going to get into a mad tangent.
We could do this per position, okay? Every week we'll talk about it per position.
So, every week position.
When the nominations come through, we can discuss those guys just for the lols, and then we'll put the vote out on across all the Twitters, the Facebook, and Discord as well. We'll consolidate that and somehow come up with something, and then we'll put together our starting 11. It'll be more fun. It'll be more fun than the best 11, because the best 11 wrote itself, except for Riera should have got in there. Yeah. But and
just looking here, a lot of the former players, the Ultimate A-League website is great. I'll just show you real quickly here. So you can see,
man, I've subscribed to the calendar for the fixtures for years. And update it like when they can. So,
but notice here, like the clubs where there's nothing here, it's either an overseas club or maybe a park football league, or maybe have retired. Like there are only so many former Wanderers players who are still playing at the moment, like Aspro at Glory, Muller at the Mariners, it was this year O'Doherty's at the Jets. So many players have since gone,
and also you have to judge them on their time with the Wanderers. You can't like people saying Aaron Moy should have been in the starting 11. He wasn't the best for us. He was better for City, right?
So you get Stim played 6 minutes in the A-League as WSF. So
can we change the criteria? Then they have to play at least 15 minutes or something, because you got like Nick Ward that played a minute.
Yeah, you need something.
So.
Would that be mostly a 2014 team? I don't know, man. We won an ACL with that 2014 team. So
I think that 2014 team was we were talking it up with Rukovic at the front and this guy. And that guy. We had a good team, right? It's just that the ACL just killed them. No, we've had a worse team since then.
Yeah, I think so. I think the 14-15 or 15-16, whatever it was, with Gombau.
16-17 border and all that. That was Pinatades came in to replace Andreu, and Border came in to replace Alberto. It just
no chance. No chance. There you go. Nick Waller played 15 minutes. He qualified. There you go. Fantastic.
The 14 team was they won the ACL, that team, and they got screwed because of the scheduling. That's what happened. And so. Nah, you look at that squad, man. That 2014 squad was good.
It was a cracker. I'll tell you what, though, at the moment, if you want some interesting stats just quickly before we wrap things up, just check this out here if you can peep this. 121 games played for the Wanderers. Mark Bridge, Topol Stanley at 104, Santalab 97, Akiano Bacchus 87, Sotirio 81 games. So Sotirio is our our 5th highest appearance player for the Wanderers. Like, go figure.
He was there for like 6 years or something, man. That's why.
Yeah, but like wow,
70, and
like
Brendan Hamill's got 80 after him.
yeah, like that shows Ante, even Ante's at 78.
Yeah, he was there less because Hamill was there during the Champions League run and for a number of years after that. So,
Yep.
but then you got
Yes.
Polyak there, 66. So this guy only played 2 years with us, and he's like in the top 10. So what does that tell you? Like all of these guys were from the opening seasons. You got Bridge, Topper Stanley, Santalab, Bacchus, Sotirio, Hamill, Kovic, Polyak, Halidi.
Yeah.
And then Bruce Kamau was the one after that.
Kamau, yeah.
What does that tell you, man? That tells you that we've had people for 1 year, like one or
it's
1.5 years.
Sotirio scored more goals than Kamau. He's
yeah, but Kamau played 2 years.
Yeah, what was it 10 goals? Sotirio 11 goals, and one of them was off his ass in Perth. Great. Anyways, want to wrap things up. We've gone past the hour mark. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. Steve will be putting the tweets out, I imagine, on Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Also the Discord as well. All links on our social media pages at ATBWSW on Instagram, Twitter, Around the Block on Facebook. And Max says he was there for the arse goal. So piece of history in his eyes. Fantastic. This has been us discussing the 3-3 draw against Melbourne City. Arguably, before the game, as Steve said, we would have taken a point. But since then, based on how the game turned out, yeah, unhappy that you ended up with the draw, and you would have probably preferred the win most likely because it looked like we could have got the win. But in any case, it is what it is. No game against Victory this weekend because of the Rona. So potentially our next game is on the 19th against Adelaide United away. And that's going to be another interesting, tough encounter. Hopefully players are back. And fingers crossed we find out what's happening with Reece Williams and see how long he's going to be out for. But dare I say, he's probably going to be for a while. We're not going to see him for at least a couple of months, I think.
1 week injury.
1 week for how long?
The next 12 weeks.
Reece Williams out 1 week. Hammy. Repeat, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. That's what it's going to be. Anyways, thank you everyone for watching live. Thank you everyone for listening. If you're listening to this post, and this has been us discussing the 3-3 draw against Melbourne City. Till next time.